if you don't understand the basics of business, how can you take your craft to another level?
We don't give them any room today, okay? They're not gonna breathe today.
But we have one goal and one objective together, all the teams, is we want to bring awareness around football in the Philippines.
When you travel, and you travel a lot too, you meet a lot of like-minded people that seem to be doing the impossible. It's really through experiences, through self-experiences, that I feel you basically find your way. Hey Vasily, thank you for having me.
No, thanks for you. Thanks, it's a pleasure, because we actually met when we were filming with Brian.
Yeah.
And Chris, when he walked in that meeting room, he's like, "I have an order with you." So you're right now in the Philippines, right?
Yes.
And you are running several companies. So can you just like mention about the companies?
Yeah. Maybe I can even talk about how I ended up here.
Yeah.
Because it was an accident. It was a complete accident of me coming to the Philippines. I mean, I was actually working in Congo in West Africa for this Norwegian company. I was contracted, or our company was contracted by a French oil company called Total.
Okay.
And we were providing subsea production systems for them for a massive project down there. So obviously I could speak French. So my company said, okay, go there and get it done. I said, okay, fine. So that was an experience. But after 3 years in Africa, I was coming to the Philippines for my vacations, because I had 9 weeks on, 9 weeks of work, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I would have 3 weeks vacation in between, right? So imagine after 9 weeks of working 12 hours in Congo, in the humid jungle, right? You're just like dead, and you just want to go somewhere super relaxing where you just disconnect from the world. So my choice would be the Philippines. So I came here, and I just really fell in love with you know, the idea of starting a business here, right? Because you know, when you travel, and you travel a lot too, you meet a lot of like-minded people that seem to be doing the impossible, right? Yeah. But it's only impossible until you start. The way I started is I started an e-commerce company here, or a website. I don't want to call it a company yet, but it was a website, and I was basically selling. I was importing fashion concept retail items from the UK, handmade in the UK, and importing them here and selling them here, basically. I don't want to say it was a fail. But you know, when you start a business, you have these like very high expectations, and you're like, yeah, this is going to be the next big thing. You know, like whenever you start a business, you're always like, yeah, this is going to be amazing, because you believe so much in what you're going to do, right? But then reality hits you, and you're like, well, actually, there's not that many people that want this. Maybe because it's too expensive, or maybe because it's not in style here or something. You're trying to bring another culture into a very American-dominated, you know, a US-dominated culture. So it's, you know, you're taking a lot of things into account, and you're trying to make the best out of your situation. Now, you know, one of the things that I have is patience, okay?
That's, I think, one of the most important in
Yes.
business, because you know, it's nothing grows fast as you want, so you have to be patient.
Exactly, right? And that's what I feel a lot of entrepreneurs fail at today, is they're not patient enough. They jump from one project to the next, and they just drop everything just because, based on data from the last 6 months. No, you need to keep going. You need to keep trying, right? And I'm happy that I'm patient. And actually, where I get my patience is from fishing. I love fishing. I'm a very keen salmon fisherman, right? So I can spend 10 hours by the river and not catch anything. After 1,000 casts, my arm is killing me. My back is swollen. But then I get my one fish, and I go home, and I'm super happy, right? So I think being a keen fisherman has taught me a lot in business as well, because I've kept the business going until today, and it's actually been very profitable now.
The e-commerce.
Yes, the e-commerce one, which has now kind of transcended into retail. So I've actually partnered with a retail store here, which is called Ristons, which is one of the biggest luxury retail stores here or the biggest luxury retail store in the Philippines. And so we sell both online and retail, which is amazing, right? Because especially when you, sorry to get into too much detail of that kind of industry, but when you sell items which, you know, like shoes, like T-shirts or anything that is, there's a size. There's a particular size that is needed for a particular client. Then you're already kind of cutting yourself short, because it's very hard, especially when you sell shoes, to find the right person with the right size that will buy that shoe.
Who needs it as well, because
it's not like selling a bag or a watch or something that is one size for all, right? This is like size specific, right? So if you're in the wholesale and retail business, it's very, very difficult to get those kind of businesses up and running, right? Due to that, right? And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway from that business for me was really like, okay, I'm not going to order, bunks of 100 pairs anymore. I'm going to go for a more hybrid solution. So maybe bespoke orders, right? So we can make a bespoke order for you with your initials on the side and stuff. And that's how the business has survived today. It's really, it's called Stobbs.ph. So that's where Stobbs came from. It's a website, and it's, and you can basically custom make your own pair of loafers, with your name or with a graphic or whatever, and that's been doing really well lately. So hence the patience, right?
Yeah. And maybe as well, like when you're starting, for example, e-commerce, I think in e-commerce, especially when you're like selling, shoes, it's more of kind of like a want product rather than a need, maybe. Absolutely. Because like, a need, when you're starting your own business, you're trying to solve someone's problems. Exactly. And you're coming up with some sort of solution. So maybe like, because that's what I actually learned as well in the university when we were trying to make those, testimony, like getting those surveys for people, what they actually need, the businesses. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that, okay, I actually need to find the need of course, like getting them on social media, getting them clients from social media. And then I was like, okay, there's opportunities there. Mm-hmm. You, for example, started more with like a one product, whereas that's actually you, I guess like more innovative as well, because you're bringing like other, culture to here and just trying to push it. So for example, you're out, of course, you have to be patient, and not everyone is ready to be patient as well. So maybe, for example, a lot of entrepreneurs fail, as you were mentioning, as well. So maybe like they should focus, do you think, on maybe on the need product, so they can, kind of like get some results, or do you think they should still be ready for, that long run and then build from that point?
That's a really good question. I mean, if I'm going to take, my example, it's by starting that business, I learned all the fundamentals of digital marketing. Why? Because I did everything myself. I'm not saying it's the right solution, because now you can outsource pretty much anything to anyone. But at the time, I just wanted to learn how to make a website. I wanted to learn SEM. I wanted to learn SEO. I wanted to learn how social media can actually, bring traffic to my platforms because it's free, right? I mean, that was the biggest thing. It's like every social media account that I created for this business, it's like it's free. So why not? Why not just start, right? And through that process, I realized a lot of things, and I realized that, the problem that I'm trying to solve, everybody else around me has it, and it's exactly all those steps that I did to start my business, where, those are all the problems that needed to be solved for the people that I was interacting with, that I was networking with, right? And that's where Stobbs Media came, because through that business, where I learned the fundamentals of digital marketing, I decided, okay, this is something that I want to start doing for others, because I understand the basics of it, but for sure I will need to hire full-time workers or employees. I call them colleagues. I'll have to hire colleagues to that really understand, that have deep knowledge about the different modules or the different fundamentals, right? So SEM, SEO, social media. And even until this day, I think that we're still perfecting our craft. Now we're branching out into branding and design, which we'll get to a bit later. But it's really through experiences, through self-experiences, that I feel you basically find your way.
What you can say, like, what this place is like famous for, or what's happening here?
The whole ecosystem within this co-working space is really around agricultural companies. So as you can see on this wall,
Yeah, this is the graph. Yeah.
this kind of explains the whole ecosystem of the companies and what they're trying to achieve, the problems they're trying to solve as well, right? So it's it really comes down to deriving protein from certain commodities and turning it into feeds that can then feed animals and hopefully help build the agricultural industry in the Philippines, which needs a lot of help.
Yes.
But these are people that I work with from the digital side of things. So yeah, here we have a lab. So this is where they do all the soil testing. As far as I understand, they test the soils to see how fertile the earth can be
that's
to grow
cool.
their crops.
And how do you find why you decided to be here, this place?
Well, number one, I'm really good friends with the founders of these companies and of this co-working space as well, and they're also my clients. So we kind of have a social working relationship as well. But it's Manila is such a big city, so you need to be smart, like where your office is going to be, right? So I live 10 minutes away from here, which is very useful, commuting in the morning and going home at night, right? Instead of taking 2 hours.
Yeah, of course, the traffic is terrible here. I don't want to say, but it's actually terrible. And
peak hours is terrible.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But this is actually interesting because it's kind of like a co-working space
Yeah.
too. Like people are here. So what is how useful do you find being in this space compared to being, let's say, at home or just being in a private office where you just sit there? Or
Definitely on the networking side, I think that's where you really get the most value, being in an environment like this, because you just meet different types of people from all walks of life that just they come in here and you offer something quite unique for this environment, and if it's a service that these people might need, then they can just come to your desk and contact you directly, right? And you obviously get referenced by people that you work with already. So I think that's the biggest upside. But the other thing too is that sense of family and community as well, right? Where it's everybody knows each other, everybody respects each other. Yeah, we support each other. I mean, those other companies have their own graphic designers, but we collaborate.
Yeah.
We help each other out. Like if somebody knows animation that the other person doesn't, then it goes both ways. This is the HQ, put it that way.
Okay.
This is where all the decisions are taken, and this is where we review, we test, and we roll out. Basically, we roll out everything from here. But our team can be, we have the social media team, which is mostly on the field. We have our sales team, which is mostly on the field as well in Europe. But this is kind of like where everything comes together, and becomes a final product.
Besides the media, you also have another company running, Barley and Kraft.
Yeah, the mission with that was to revolutionize the craft beer industry in the Philippines. We definitely saw a trend in the number of consumers that demanded this type of product around Asia, especially if you look at Singapore and other markets, kind of like further Southeast Asian markets. So what we do is we have our online platform. You go into the website, you join the club. So it's a craft beer club where you join, and we basically send you a curated 10-pack of different craft beers produced locally in the Philippines to your doorstep, right? And every month, let's say you take a 6-month subscription, which is and it's still very affordable. We basically curate a 10-pack of beers for you every month, delivered to you to your house. And within that package, you get a lot of freebies. You also get a menu which shows you the different types of pairings that you should drink your beer with, like what to eat, and with the different types of beers that we offer you. And yeah, I mean, this whole idea really stemmed from this growing demand for craft beer. It's been challenging, mostly I would say on the educational side of things. You know, how to convince somebody that craft beer is better than commercial beer. You know, how to convince somebody that you're paying this premium for a product that, you know, that is essentially, it's beer. Right, so you know, and you're competing against like multi-corporations like you know, Heineken, Carlsberg, San Miguel. I mean, you know, it's definitely swimming with the sharks, for sure.
I like that.
Right.
You started with 8. You lived in 8 countries. You told me.
Yeah.
And, like, where you were born, and like, how do you?
Okay. Well, no, my journey is in my mind is quite straightforward, but I can understand that it might be a bit confusing for people. But born in Norway.
Okay.
1 year after I was born, we moved to Paris.
Okay.
Spent another year in Paris. And then my father decided to quit his job and move to Indonesia.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I spent almost 8 to 9 years in Indonesia, growing up there. From 1989 almost up to 1998.
Okay.
So until the financial crisis, the Asian crisis in 97, 98. Where we then got evacuated. So the embassies evacuated all the foreigners out of Indonesia because there was a coup where the dictator at the time, Suharto, who was a big, massive figure in Indonesia at the time, he was in power for over 35-ish years. I still have the images in my mind until this day. I mean, you know, driving to the airport, everything is burning around you, the smoke. And we, you know, we're young, we don't understand really what's happening, right? So they evacuate us to Singapore. So we get in Singapore, and I remember us arriving at the hotel, and the embassy guy just like, here's your salary for the week, do what you want. So we're like, oh, great. So we just got to explore Singapore. And luckily enough, all my friends from Jakarta were all in the same hotel because all the families were just together there. So, well, actually at the time, the business of my father got bought by a Norwegian company, right? Or got taken over by a Norwegian company. So they offered him a position in Norway, right? Which then led us back to Norway after that. Yeah, so went to the French school in Oslo for a couple of years. And on my last year of high school, my father got moved to Paris. So we went back to Paris, finished my last year of high school. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. But, you know, I always had this sense in me where I enjoyed working, right? I always had that kind of passion to earn something, whether it's mowing the lawn or whether it's cleaning the car, you know, and getting a couple of dollars here and there. In the time it was Norwegian kroners, but you know, I always felt like, you know, my first job was a dishwasher in a Chinese restaurant. I think I was 14 at the time, completely illegal. I finished high school in Paris, and then I decided to move back to Norway, right? So I didn't want to live with my parents anymore. I was 17 years old, and I just said, Dad and Mom, I'm moving back to Norway. My friends are there, and I prefer it there. And I was just job hunting every day, right? And I was doing different jobs. So I was doing bartender. I was working at a hotel as a receptionist. I even did bellboy. I really hustled my way through those years. But then I quickly realized I need an education, right? I can't, you know, there's only so much you can do. But, you know, if you don't understand the basics of business, how can you take your craft to another level? Right? So I applied to the Norwegian Business School of Management, and well, I got in, and I did my bachelor's there, and that's probably the best thing I ever did for myself.
You had like business administration? Or?
Yes, I did the BBA program.
Actually, here they have also a dog. I don't know where since you
She's
were.
here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you're a dog lover like me and like you are as well, Vasily, right? It's important to, like you said, like take 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll
pet the
get
dog.
that energy, and then it helps. And also, you mentioned here, there's like
Yeah.
also studio. There's one guy from Philippines.
Yes.
He's like famous blogger.
He's actually half French, half Filipino.
Maybe
He's
he's on the team. He's there, but
It's
cool.
You want to say? Should we say hi to him?
I don't know.
Should we? I don't know. Well, let's see. Let's see.
Let's maybe.
Oh yeah, no, he's having a meeting. I
Okay.
think. Yeah, he's having a meeting.
So we don't want to make enemies here, but that's cool because it's also different industries, different
Correct,
niches.
correct.
So you learn a lot. Chris, where we are standing?
Hey, Vasily.
Where we're standing? What's happening here? Can you just explain a little bit, a few words?
So this is the Phil-Am Sevens Football League here in the Philippines, where we have 15 teams competing for a place in the International World Cup of the Sevens Football, which is going to take place in Mexico later next year.
Wow, yeah, that's cool. So how your background? I assume it's in football, right? So you're playing when you were young. How basically did you play it professionally? What is your background in that sport?
Funnily enough, I didn't grow up playing football. I grew up playing tennis and basketball.
Does it like motivates you more when you go out there in the office and start grinding? How do you feel?
Absolutely. I think having an active lifestyle in general is definitely a plus, in the everyday kind of business life. I mean, I always put health first before anything, and because without health you have nothing, right? Yeah. So it's like just making sure that you can have fun and also, make a living out of it too. I mean, this is a business at the end of the day as well. So, but it's a fun business. It's like a fun side hustle.
So trust each other, trust your colleagues on the field, okay? Pass them the ball, okay? Like I said, not more than 2 seconds. We need to have that mentality, that mindset today, guys. We don't give them any room today, okay? They're not gonna breathe today. We're gonna be rotating players around, okay? If you're tired, I'll see that you're tired. Don't tell me, I'll see it already, I'll get you off. We'll get a new guy in. We'll rotate really fast today.
So you have your own team. So when you came here, you have you started to building that team.
Yeah.
And how many players do you have in your team?
Right now we have a roster of around 16, 17 players.
And they're all from also, I assume, different countries, right?
So it's multicultural. We have only four Filipinos playing with us. The rest are either from Africa, from South America, a lot of South Americans on our team, and some Europeans as well.
What is your goals with the current team you have? Like, what are your?
I think we have one goal and one objective together, all the teams, is we want to bring awareness around football in the Philippines. We want to try and make Philippine football the #1 sport in the Philippines. Hopefully, one day. There's a lot of potential, as you can see here. Even having a women's league. I mean, and these are really good players, right? And they had nowhere to play before we set up this league. They were playing maybe with their friends at a park or a stadium somewhere, but now they have a purpose to play. We have scouts coming in from all around the world. We have 2 Tottenham scouts here today, Premier League scouts that are here to look at mostly the women's, actually. It's really just helping the development of football, the future of football in the Philippines. It's a huge thing.
What are the challenges like managing the team? I assume you guys have sponsors as well, right? For support, you also have to pay like some salaries, right, to the players because they're doing it. So what are your like?
I think the biggest challenge for me is making sure that I have the players I need for the team, for the games that are coming ahead, because we have the league, but what happens after the league is we get into the playoff mode. So we have quarterfinal playoffs and semifinal and final. So now we're 2 games away from the quarterfinals. So it's really, you know, when you manage a team, you manage obviously the business, but you also manage each individual player. So I need to approach each player and make them believe in themselves, have that confidence to perform in front of the cameras, in front of all the people, and you know, it's a challenging thing, but I love it. It's fun. Like I really enjoy it, you know.
So how often do you have those games?
So this is every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
So this starts actually at 1 p.m. every Sunday, and the youth team plays from 1 p.m. till 5, 6, and then the senior teams play after 5 p.m. But yeah, every week, once a week,
Do you have
this
a
happens.
practice as well that happens?
Yeah, we do, but the funny thing is that most of the players that I play with, we're also part of an 11-a-side team.
Okay.
So we just practice with the 11-a-side team, which actually saves costs for us because then we don't have to rent a field somewhere. You know, it's already part of another thing. So, so yeah, no, I mean, and all these guys, they play so much. Like some of them just play football every day. You know, they just play every day.
Yeah, you mentioned some of them played professionally, but because they were not able to support themselves financially, they had to stop playing. But you actually, you know, connecting those people and, you know, organizing a team. Yeah. So you have a busy evening today.
Yeah,
it's
going to be crazy.
2 matches, right?
Correct.
So the first match right now, and it's going to be cool.
Starting at 8:30.
It's going to be fun.
We're playing the top team tonight. So
good luck. Gotta be prepared.
Thanks,
Chris. Thanks, Chris.
And guys, football, it's a simple game, right? We need to play organized. The moment we forget which one is our role in the field is when everything becomes messy. And this is not 11 side, 7 side, so one player can make a huge difference, right? So know your role, do your job, that should be simple. Support, if you see right back or left back, if one is going up, make sure that the left back doesn't go, right? So like kind of look at your other players where you are and play for each other.
Silly, nice to meet you. Hablo español un poquito.
Ah, bueno, ¿cómo estás? Placer. ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien, gracias.
You're from Russia, right?
Yeah, from Russia. So we have a team here in Philippines, and we're also like documenting journey on YouTube and stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's cool.
How long you been here?
This is 4th time. So we've been 2 or 3 weeks here, and I'm gonna stay for 2 more weeks here as well. Yeah. So I saw your Instagram. So are you traveling or mostly in Philippines?
No, mostly in the Philippines.
Mostly in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So
this month I will be traveling a lot, but normally I'm
so you do like
American.
commercials and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I have my company. I think you've been in the office the other day, right?
Yeah. In LM.
And LM time, yeah.
It's very nice. Very nice.
So that's the company, but I also do some endorsements and things like that. But
and you'll enjoy it for fun as well, right? Because Argentina, I mean, you guys are big as well.
Yeah. I'm actually injured. I'm so pissed because I come, but I cannot play. But I think I have 1 more week to be able to play, 100%. So yeah, today I was running already, so it's okay.
That's cool. That's good. So
I will try to coach today. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay. Thanks. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. Gracias.
By the way, my dog is from Russia.
Yeah. I saw that. Ponchola, right? Pochola.
So it's end of the day for us. Good interview, good productive day of Chris, and I wanted to say thanks to him a lot because without him we wouldn't be able to come here and film this content. So great day, guys. Thanks so much for joining as well, watching this, and let me know if you have any questions. If you will have questions to Chris, feel free to ask him and reach out to him. So thank you so much, and see you in the next vlog.